Greetings from planet Earth.
Hello, Zach.
Black t-shirt. Thursday is back. Better than ever. Ooh, okay. There you go.
You like that?
I only have one on my desk. Yeah, I like it.
For those that are just listening, that I was showing possession of this new book. What are you watching on Netflix?
By me.
Way One. That's right.
I don't know if you've read it yet, but if you do, can you set a timer and tell me how long it takes you?
Yeah,
because I'm interested. I intentionally wrote it to be one topic, go deep, and see if people would read it on in one setting, in one sitting, right? Yeah, so it's kind of, and actually, some of the Amazon stats are saying like books under 90 minutes type of thing.
Huh.
And when I first wrote Anomaly, one of the stats that I had heard is that only 30% of books get opened, and something like only 30% of books get to like page 20 or something like that. Wow. And I was like, that's interesting.
I guess now that you mentioned it, I suppose it doesn't surprise me.
Well, I mean, how many books are on my bookshelf that I've never read, right? Definitely the entire bottom shelf. I can guarantee you that. But so it was kind of a theory. Okay, I have this part of Anomaly. I think I wrote What Are You Watching on Netflix like 2 times in that book. And then obviously I started making it kind of like a movement type of thing, which is, icebreaker questions. But what would happen if you have a shorter book, more focused, would more people read it type of thing? So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. That being said, we have just learned that today's guest, this is her first podcast ever. And as you and I were talking, Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
We realized that you said the majority of our guests, of the 211, have been first-time podcastees. You really think that's true? I don't think.
It is an overwhelming. It is way more than I ever would have figured. Now, we don't manage this number. We don't ask people, so we have no way of knowing. But I am surprised at how many people either tell us beforehand that this is the first time, or afterwards I'll see them, and maybe they were too afraid to say something. But then I'll see them a month or two later. They're like, "Yeah, that was my first one." So Marshall from Hubs, I went into Hubs last week. And,
did you get the chocolate peanuts?
I did.
Hell
yeah! But Marshall had, and I real quick aside, the Vine. I went in there. He gave me a tour.
That's what they turned the Harris Teeter or something Farm Fresh into?
It was a Farm Fresh into. Super, super cool place. So anybody that if you're driving through Franklin, make a stop at the Vine, pick up a can of peanuts or 2 or 3 or whatever. And it was really, really impressive what they've been able to do. I mean, it was really, really great. But point being, talking to Marshall, he's like, "Yeah, man, that was my first time ever being on a podcast. And I've been on several since, but that was my first one." So
wasn't he in a closet in his bedroom?
I don't know. I would have to go back and look at the tape, but
I feel like he told us that. I met him on my Anomaly book tour.
Did you?
Way back when? Yes.
What a great guy he is.
Great guy. I love it when we actually then experience some of our guest stuff that we hadn't known before. Like I went to the escape room a couple weeks ago. It's always kind of cool to see that. I think it's like 10% or less is the number I think.
You think that 21 of our guests, it was their first time?
Well, you think it's a lot more than that.
I do.
Yeah, I would go with 21.
We catch people so early in their journey.
That's fair.
And I think that from that standpoint, it's really, that's what makes
maybe live show.
Yeah, I don't know.
A lot of people that aren't live. Was when I did my old Zach Miller Says show, maybe it was the 1004 show at that point. Was that your first podcast, or had you been on one before that? Do you remember the first podcast?
No, I think that was I don't remember, but.
Okay, so
I don't know, but Hannah, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Are you nervous?
Not really. I'm more really excited. If anything, I always listen to podcasts and I love to talk. So it's my first time. So we'll see what happens.
What took you so long?
I don't know.
Well, we love capturing people's journeys super early. We focus on the Hampton Roads area. That's slowly evolved a little bit beyond that. We've had folks all across Virginia on the show. We've had folks outside of Virginia on the show. So let's
what's
have
the
fun.
furthest? California, Colorado,
California,
Florida.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So California, I guess. I think I do think I do think that for one episode, didn't we have someone from that happened to be on vacation in Italy or something? We'll protect the innocent, but
was on vacation in Italy.
Yeah, and that's where
I
they
can
were
think
doing.
of who it is.
Yeah. Last name
someone from
color.
Texas.
Wow.
Yes. What was the F1 guy?
Oh yeah. The former Formula One driver.
It's cool meeting new people. I think there's something exciting about the opportunity of technology being able to do this. I remember 15 years ago how difficult it was to even put something like this on, and then we used to have to use this thing called like OBS. It was a real pain in the ass. Like, now it's just seamless. Yeah. So like I know we've said this from the start, but like not that COVID was a good thing in any kind of way, but like we're lucky that COVID happened when technology was a lot more mature. Because had this happened in like 2000, damn, we would have been watching a lot of VHS tapes.
Yeah. Be
Reruns
kind.
of Jerry.
Yeah.
Be kind, please rewind.
I mean, I think COVID really showed us how important technology is, because I was having, like, everybody was, distanced away from each other. And then we would get on Zoom calls with my family, and they would be in Maryland and New York. And we would kind of just like all get together and like have conversations. And my grandparents are old, like they don't know what Zoom is. So they had to learn what virtual meetings are. And I think that really honestly showed me like the power of technology.
Where are you from? Are you from Maryland?
No, I'm originally from New Jersey. I just have a ton of family in Maryland and in New York.
And did Hampton University bring you down here?
Yes. So I came down here for school, and my mom is actually an alumni. So I've been going down to the homecoming since I was like a freshman in high school. And I kind of just had my eyes set on Hampton ever since then. Like everybody in my high school like knew I was going to go to Hampton. So my cousin's down here. She went to Hampton, just graduated also. So it's just kind of like a family thing. And I have a couple uncles who went to Hampton as well.
So did you just graduate from Hampton?
No, I graduated literally like a year ago.
Oh, okay.
I've been out of school for a while now. Yeah.
Same. Me as well. Yep. So you weren't afraid to, or so you decided that you wanted to kind of stick to Hampton, stay in the family type of thing. Your mom really said some good stuff about it over the years, what you had seen the campus. Did you look at other schools? Ultimately, how do you make that decision at this point? I haven't looked at that in a long time. Deciding factors.
I definitely did look at other schools. I did a school tours, and it's funny because like the majority of the schools I looked at were in Virginia, and then there was like Howard that was in DC. But I knew that I wasn't really into like the city kind of lifestyle because I'm from New Jersey, like 20-30 minutes outside of New York City. So I'm kind of used to that. I wanted something different. And then I was just super familiar with Hampton. I already knew a lot of people because I did some like youth programs that they were having in the summer there. So I kind of already like built a little community there. So I don't know. I honestly just felt called to go. And I just felt as though I would be more at home here, which is like ironic because our saying is like home by the sea. But I also really just loved like the city of Hampton, and it's right by the beach. And I think like it's so close to Virginia Beach, and it has like a huge beachy community and beachy vibe. And I really always love that. And like comparing it back to New Jersey, where I would have to drive an hour to go to the Jersey Shore and then pay like $20, $25 to actually go sit on the beach, this was like luxurious to me.
Wow, I had no idea that was a thing, that you had
Yeah.
that you have to pay money to go onto the beach. I
Yeah.
guess that's something I totally take for granted.
Yeah. And we have a family of 6, so it's like $20 per person.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's insane.
All right, I
I would
won't
like to
complain
take
about
this
parking.
opportunity. Yeah, I would like to take this opportunity for the City of Hampton Tourist Board to take this clip and use it everywhere over the next 10,
Right.
15 years.
Yeah.
And just to credit us, you can also send us checks. We'll
That's right.
we will support that as well.
You
But it's
make-
interesting. I would think that more cities that are looking to share their tourism aspect of it should pull and look for more clips like this from their city, communications all around, than doing like the random bring that person. Oh, I think this city is great because it's so scripted type of thing. That was so natural and raw. Like it's just more powerful. I think there was something unique there that could be a good selling point. Things that I didn't know. You just said going to the beach in New Jersey not only is an hour away, or you said New Jersey, not only is it an hour away, but $120. Damn.
Yes, it's really expensive.
Do you get an umbrella with that or a chair or anything? BYOU? Like,
You do get an umbrella. You do get an
okay, well, that's
umbrella.
good. Just make sure you stick those things deep in the ground, because if not, they come flying. And
I-
there's spears.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that actually happen? It's scary.
I've seen videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is scary.
So is Buckrow Beach, is that your go-to beach?
Yeah, Buckrow Beach. And it's funny because my mom actually moved down here too. After I decided I was actually going to just stay down here. She moved down here. She got a house in Buckrow Beach. So it's literally walking distance from the beach. So I'm usually always there.
Well, how much would she charge us to use her beach access? $20?
Well, the Buckrow Beach is free. You don't have to pay anything.
Yeah.
See, this is me.
You do have to get there early. Parking, yeah. If you're not there early,
Parking is insane. But that's why I'm happy that she lives right there, because I can just like walk from her.
Did they ever open that float thing?
I don't know. I don't know what you're referring to.
Mm-mm.
They were doing like this big square float thing that people could run around at Buckrow. This made like 6 years ago.
I don't know.
That looks cool.
I didn't see it when we were there last year, but that doesn't mean anything.
All right, so technology is something that you've been interested in for quite some time. Just when you went to school, like how did you get into tech?
Yeah, so it started when I was in school, honestly. So I got my bachelor's degree in entrepreneurial studies. And when I entered into the entrepreneurship program, we had this really amazing and cool opportunity to go through this program sponsored by NASA called Transfer to University. So it gives minority students the opportunity to utilize their patent or their portfolio of IPs, and they have so many technologies that they're just sitting on waiting to be licensed out. And when I was a young child, I was obsessed with NASA. I was obsessed with the stars, the moon, the sky, all of that really cool stuff. My parents bought me a telescope so my siblings and I could like look at the moon, look at the stars, all that fun stuff. So when the opportunity just kind of fell into my lap, I was super, super, super excited. It kind of just brought me back to my child state. And I was just like, this is NASA. There's probably a ton of cool opportunities that come with this. So although I wasn't really thinking about ever doing tech, I just wanted to like lean into the opportunity and kind of immerse myself in it. So I just started looking through their portfolio of technologies. And there was this one specific technology that kind of just resonated with me. And it allowed you to like do wireless charging. And so I just thought it was really, really cool. And then to kind of apply that to electric vehicles, because I literally just had a conversation like 2 days before that about the challenges surrounding EV charging infrastructure. So I just kind of put that out as like a way to kind of solve the problem. Whereas like, okay, what if we had this device where we can wirelessly charge? Maybe that would kind of alleviate some of the issues that, like EV drivers go through when they're charging. And it just started as a school assignment because I just needed a grade to pass the class. So I started to just like make presentations because at that point it was just a presentation. It wasn't necessarily a pitch. So that's kind of how it started, how it began. And then the more that I kept presenting this in class, like the more I noticed professors were really like, they really liked the idea. They were telling me like, it's such a great idea. And then there were students who were also like, who kind of gravitated towards the idea and they wanted to be a part of my team. But even at that point, I didn't have an LLC. So I was just like, I'm not really looking for teammates right now. I'm just looking to pass this class so I can move on with my life. So while I was in the entrepreneurship program and we did start to like practice pitching more and kind of like cultivating our skills and really nurturing the skill sets by engaging in different programs where we got to like practice actually pitching now that it's not really a presentation anymore. More people kind of started to gravitate towards the idea. And that's when I realized like, okay, maybe I should take this more seriously and kind of start an LLC. So I did do that with my professor. He helped me create my LLC back in 2022. And that was pretty much the beginning of it all. And ever since then, I've just been super immersed in technology.
Go back for a second and touch on how did you make that initial connection with NASA? Was that something that Hampton University promoted, or was that something that you took the initiative on your own to find?
No, that was Hampton University, which was just incredible. Like I really appreciate the opportunity because that has changed my life tremendously. And
That's
we're
really
led by NASA Langley too.
Okay, so I know I spoke at an IP thingamajig a long time ago. Tim, you were there.
Yeah,
And
that
I
was
remember them telling
that was for Jefferson Lab.
Jefferson Lab, yeah. And so I'm assuming NASA is the same in this case, where they get a lot of IPs and they just sit on a table, in a back room. They do nothing with them, right? And so it's that seems like a problem. Right,
Well,
like you get this thing, they never do anything with it. Never.
Well, it's interesting because NASA Langley, it's a research center, and so they have many research scientists, and what they do is they do the research to validate or verify that, hey, we were trying to come up with this composite material, this will work in space or whatever. But so once they're done with it, the patents are filed, and then that goes into their tech transfer office. So essentially what they have is they have hundreds and hundreds of solutions that are looking for problems. And so it takes someone like Hannah to like look to see like, wow, they've already got the solution for wireless recharging for electrical devices. Now I can take this and apply that. I've got the problem, you've got the solution, and then leverage it that way. So,
and a lot. So, like the technologies come out of different NASA sites from all across this country. So it could be either from Goddard or Ames or Langley. So wherever that inventor kind of works out of. And the thing is, like a lot of the inventors, they just like to build technology. That's just what they like to do. So when they build what they want to build and then they go off and patented it with the USPTO, they don't really have any idea of like what to do with it next. So then it takes like an entrepreneur with the entrepreneurship mindset to really like bring that technology to commercialization. And I think like it was really cool because we did get to meet all the inventors of the technologies that we licensed out, because eventually like there is an agreement made between us and then the inventor is involved with that. So it works out for everyone, honestly.
Can you go into that? Like, what does that look like from a like what's in it for them type of perspective, and
Yeah.
like not just the inventor, NASA, etc., because they're gonna want their money too, right?
Yeah, for sure. So there is an agreement in place. So after you apply for the patent and they license it out to you, you're going to get a non-exclusive agreement. And basically within that agreement, you're basically saying like, when you start to generate revenue, like 5% of that will go to the inventor, and then NASA will get another percentage of it as well. So it's a pretty straightforward agreement, and they don't even take a lot. So that's just pretty much what it is. And then another thing is that like for somebody who's just starting out like me, they completely license it out to you for free. And they're super accommodating to your needs. So like if they do tell you to like pay a fee for the license, you can just let them know like, hey, we won't be able to pay this right now. And they will literally like just give it to you for free until you can begin to pay it.
This is a story that needs to be told over and over and over again. And I hope that NASA is using you, and I hope that HU is using you to be like a poster child of this, because Zach, they have so many patents. I mean, the problem is that these patents, they're all searchable on NASA's website, but they're so dense. I mean, it is some really, really dense technical reading. And so you got to figure it out. But as a startup founder, think about how much money you can save, because you don't have to come up with the solution and go deep into the technology. It's already there for you. And with Reactor, that's one of the things that we're trying to crack the code to make this a repeatable process, to find people that have the technical wherewithal to like understand this database of patents that are available to be licensed out.
So is it that techie that you have to know like all? Yeah. So a noob like me would have I'd be screwed. You know, if I can answer one question on Jeopardy, I'm excited tonight. Like maybe even a week. Like, I mean, there's this app that I use that I learned from you, Tim, called Elevate. I'm still an easy crossword puzzle. I never get it completely done. Like there is nope. Sorry.
Yeah.
But it is that technical that you have to like know kind of to look into it. So you can't.
I mean,
like, do you consider yourself technical, Hannah, in any kind of way, or are you more on the?
Honestly, like I don't consider myself technical. I don't really think it was that hard to navigate, but I don't know.
You don't have my brain.
No, I think because sometimes, you know, things just kind of like fall into my lap, like information just kind of just comes to me. I don't know. And we applied for like 5 or so patents now. And some of the patents that we applied for, other people kind of brought to me like, you should use this patent, you know, like this patent would be good with what you're doing. So I did have a lot of help too, like a lot of supporters early on who really just wanted to, you know, see us succeed. So that was like another way of like how to kind of navigate it, having like other people's eyes on the patent. Cause like I have team members who have helped me kind of like figure out which technologies we should use. So I think like that also helped as well. So like I came with one, somebody else came with another one, somebody else found another one. So it kind of just like worked out like that, which I'm really appreciative of, honestly.
It is such a treasure trove of opportunity that nobody takes advantage of.
Yeah.
What is it that they don't take advantage of it, or that the ease of use isn't there, and which is what
it's both, I think. But Hannah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just don't take advantage of it, to be honest with you. A lot of people who I've known personally, we all got the same opportunity, but you have to like, I'm pretty much the only one in my class that just like moved forward with it. And honestly, I think that like NASA could improve their site a little bit. This is something that my CMO and I talk about, just because it could make it a little bit easier for people to navigate. But I think like if you are really committed to something, you're going to find out the information. Like you're going to spend hours searching something and you're going to find the answer that you're looking for. And you can always ask for help, you know what I mean? So like, I think that it's kind of we have to take accountability. And I think that if you really want to do it, you would. I know like other people outside of my class and like in Florida who have been through the T2U transfer program as well, because they do it in other states with other universities, and they're doing great. So I think it's really like what you make of it, honestly.
Have you always been wired that way?
Yes, my parents are entrepreneurs. So it kind of just runs in my blood. And when I entered into sorry, my cat's tail is in the way. When I entered into the entrepreneurship program, it's kind of crazy, but like I had this goal in my head, like I'm going to leave with a business. I'm going to leave with a business. And I think like I come from a very academic family. And because my parents are business owners, very successful, they're into real estate. I also kind of had that fear of like, I don't want to let my parents down. So I knew like I had to take things very, 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 very seriously. And I really did. And even being like in college, I know like it's typical to see like a college student go out and like party and do all of that stuff. But I did sacrifice a lot just to like focus on this and focus on like building it and finding opportunities outside of my university. Cause I don't know, I just kind of understood that like that was temporary. And after I left, I was going to have to like find my own path and like depend and meet other people who can really take this to where I envision it to go.
Okay, so
I love
you're
it.
23. Yeah,
Mhm.
you're 23. You're out of school. I mean, are you full time on this? Do you have a job? Like, how are you paying for this? Like, what's that landscape look like?
So I am doing this full time. I'm super appreciative of my parents because they believe in me. They believe in this vision. They believe in where it could go as well. So my dad, he's already been investing into me. So it's I love my family so much. We're super close, and it's rare to say because I am 23 and I don't work a typical 9 to 5, and I can just focus on building this up. And it's mainly because I do have that family support, and they're helping me a lot.
I'm trying to think. You are a recent micro pitch winner at Star Peninsula. How did you get connected with Star Peninsula? I don't remember.
It was funny because I woke up because I think it was like the day the application was like due. So I woke up at like 4:00 in the morning, and I think I might have just went on LinkedIn or something, and I saw the opportunity to pitch, and it was right here in Hampton. So I was like, okay, we're gonna apply to this. And it was we kind of just did it on a limb, honestly. Like we just find opportunities and just apply. And I wasn't going to be able to make it actually to the pitch because I had another meeting scheduled. So that was like something that was conflicting. But my CMO, she was like, no, this is a great opportunity. So I'm just going to do it for you while you handle the meeting, and just see what happens. So I'm super grateful for her. So that's just kind of how it happened, honestly.
Yeah, I guess I remember it being a really late application.
Yeah.
And we like, and I remember replying back saying, yeah, we can make it work. But I'm always hesitant with late applicants because typically in a perfect world, people apply early, they attend Pitch Perfect. We teach them how to pitch. They have time to practice. They'll send a recording of their pitch. Then we'll provide some feedback to really help them prepare. And it typically is the later someone is in the process, then the higher the chance is they're going to back out at the last second because they're too nervous and they're like, I'm in way over my head. I'm out. And, but you did not do that. And you all went through, and you'll pitch in November for the championship pitch. So congratulations for taking advantage of opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm extremely excited about that. So we'll see what happens.
And then, and it's just weird. The universe works in weird ways. So we were talking a little bit before we went live. Then our paths crossed again. I did a talk on how to pitch at Black Brand at the B-Force Accelerator as they're wrapping up their cohort. And unfortunately, I had to, as soon as my talk was done, I had to beeline out because I had to get to my next thing. But then, Zach, it's interesting. I get an email from someone from economic development within the city of Hampton. They're like, hey, I'm working with someone that I think that you probably know. And I was like, yep, I recognize the name and the company. They would like to check out Reactor and see what that's all about. So I'm like, hey, why don't you, if it works, come on, join us on, I think it was a Wednesday afternoon. We're going to have an investor here. This investor is driving in from
New Jersey
to talk to. He wants to meet some founders. So I was like, we can knock out a couple birds with one stone. You can check out Reactor. You can see some of the things that we do there, programming wise, and if you would like, Hannah can then pitch to this investor. And I put in there in our agenda, I was like, I just put in parentheses optional, just because, again, not everybody takes advantage of opportunities that are presented to themselves.
Most people.
But Hannah was not that case. So this Mike comes in, and I looked over to Hannah. I'm like, are you gonna pitch? And she's like, yep. And she got up there and she rocked it. So
But that story is so important because most people do. I said most people, most people do not raise their hand, right? And to me, this is the raise your hand effect, right? It's like an opportunity comes up, you have no idea where it's going to go.
Yeah,
raise your hand and see what happens. I mean, that's like when I got the TV show. You know the story, Tim.
Yep.
Like an opportunity came up, it was not being pitched to me. I raised my hand, put my name in the hat, and then it happened. But it's the same thing. Like, you never know. If you sit there and be like, well, I don't know that I'm ready yet, and then this is the one time you're going to get in front of this person, and then if you don't do it, you missed out. Like, well, you're already at zero. So what's the worst that could happen? Because negative zero ain't a thing.
Exactly. Yeah. I tell myself, like, you just got to do it. Even if you're scared, just go and do it, because you'd never know. And I'm glad I did do it, because a lot of great opportunities even came out of that. I met Johnny, who is literally working on his own e-scooter fleet. And
is this the guy that's 60-mile-an-hour
scooter? Yeah. No, and that's what I'm like. Hannah needs to become part of Reactor so that Johnny and Hannah can work together. And there's a lot of collaborations that can happen there.
Yeah, so that's
no one need to be on a 60-mile-an-hour scooter, especially not me.
Yeah, no, that's insane. But we had a really great meeting yesterday, so I'm excited for what's to come for Hannah and Johnny and HerculE-Q, because there's definitely a lot of potential there. And then I'm going to speak with Michael, the investor from New Jersey, on tomorrow, actually. So I am really looking forward to that meeting.
Was that the first time that you had pitched to an investor?
That's not the first time I pitched to an investor, but this will be like the first, because I did have a potential angel investor, and I met with him, but I wasn't really prepared, because just the way that it happened, he literally sold me. I went to buy a new car at Toyota, and he just ended up being an angel investor. So it was just a shock to my system. So I wasn't really like as prepared as I wanted to be, but I definitely feel as though this is going to be like the first time where I can actually go in and ask the right questions. So I think like everything is all about like preparation and just learning how to really like navigate these situations, you know?
Well, kudos to you on that. So I get some more backstory on that, Zach. So after everybody did their pitches, then we opened things up and there was a dialogue that the founders could ask him some questions and he provided feedback. And I teed it up in the sense of, hey, can we share your contact information so that these founders then can add you to their updates when they send out monthly or quarterly updates, so that you can be included on that. Because a lot of times with investors, for those listening, it's not necessarily a hard no. It might not be, you haven't hit this particular milestone yet. And then maybe once you hit that milestone, then you can talk. So he was very open to that. And so I shared his email address out with all of those that pitched. And now it's on them to take advantage of that opportunity. So it is wonderful to hear that you took advantage of the opportunity to reach out and connect with him.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm super appreciative of Brian Owens. Shout out to him, because he's just been guiding me a lot and giving me some great advice about like how to really speak to investors and like how to go about these situations, because I am still learning. And a lot of this is literally like my first time, like, so to have somebody like mentorship is so important, to have somebody who's like experienced and is knowledgeable and somebody like you trust that can really help you guide you and like navigate you through these spaces is super important for sure.
Yeah, Brian's a great guy. Also former guest on the show. Can't remember what number, but it was probably his first podcast as well.
No,
I feel like Brian probably did so many other things.
I was kidding. But I was not kidding. The fact Brian is a great guy. I love Brian.
For sure.
If I recall, when Gary Locke took over Startup Night from me, that's when I met Brian. He was a part of a music startup at that point that was doing some really cool stuff. I don't know if you were there at that event. I think it was at ODU's thing, Entrepreneurship Center. I can't think of what that thing is called, but great pitch. One of the better pitches ever. Not that people are bad at pitching, but like when you see a really good pitch, you're like, ooh,
yeah.
That was like, I always remember like Steve Waddell is a very good presenter.
Yeah.
I feel like Brian, what's his last name? Brian Owens is a great pitcher. Nate Scholl of Swim Nerd, a couple time guests on this show. Maybe the greatest presenter of all time. I don't know if you've ever seen him present. I wonder if there's a video of that. I wonder if we record it. Tremendous, Tim. Like,
yeah, some people are just super comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I was.
It's not the deciding factor, but it's definitely a way to engage the crowd, right? We don't go to Broadway shows for crappy performances. We expect goodness, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So there's something there.
As a judge at the York County School Division pitch night last night, 5 pitches, high school students, all really impressive.
Wow.
All really impressive because of how old they were, or just impressive because they're like good?
No, they were great in the sense of they took it serious. You can tell that they rehearsed. Mm-hmm. It was practiced. So like, we're not digging into the fact of, is the financial model right? Is the revenue model right? Do the number, are the numbers right? But like, just in the pure performance sense, they did really, really well. The thought exercise of at least thinking through the financial model, really, really impressive. And I wish that everybody was put that much time and effort into what they were doing.
Yeah.
Did you have stuff like that as a kid, Hannah?
Not as a kid, but we did do some when I was in college. That's when I really started to like pitch. Yeah,
but not in high school.
Not in high school.
Just not you. not a
Well,
thing available at your school, or not something at that point that you were interested in?
not something at that point that I was interested in. I was a part of like clubs where we would have like events and I would have to like host events. So I would be the one like speaking and stuff like that. But it wasn't really like a pitch for a business or anything like that. And then just for those clubs, like we would do fundraisers. So I'd have to like go out and like talk to people and get them to like give us money to fundraise and stuff like that. But that's pretty much like the closest that I ever really got to like pitching.
Got it.
Well, gosh, here, look, we're 40 minutes into this. Let's dive into the business. Let's talk about what it is that, what you're doing, what problem you're solving, and let's go.
Yeah, so HerculE-Q is an infrastructure and technology company developing wireless charging solutions for e-bikes and e-scooters using NASA IP. We decided to provide this kind of infrastructure to e-bikes and e-scooters because we realize that this is a huge market with a lot of market potential, although it's not as big as the automobile space. We do see a lot of urban cities and universities adopting e-bikes and e-scooters. I know down here in the Norfolk area, you see a whole bunch of Lime scooters out there. And we got to speak to various operational managers at Lime and logistic partners. And we just realized that the way that they kind of charge their batteries and their charging infrastructure just isn't sustainable. They do what's called battery swappings, and also they have logistic partners who are going out into the streets. And this pretty much is like the same kind of business model for all these other e-bike, e-scooter sharing companies. So like Lime, Birdspin, all of those great companies. So their operations are pretty expensive, and we just feel as though offering them a solution where it decreases their expenses while also giving them the chance to have more vehicles in uptime will really help increase their revenue.
Isn't the way that they charge them now is they pay someone to take it home and charge it?
Well, that was their original way of doing it. They don't actually take them home anymore, but they have what's called battery swapping. So they will pay a logistic partner, which is an independent contractor, go to their warehouse, pick up like 20 to 30 batteries, and then go out on the street and switch the batteries out. Now, if there is a scooter or a bike that needs maintenance, which is a lot of the times because this is for public use, they will have to take those off of the street and bring them to their warehouse. So you might see those people, those logistic partners, like physically pulling up scooters or bikes off of the street and bringing it to their warehouse.
What is the typical
the time
battery
I
life?
saw the time I saw a Lime scooter in my neighborhood, Tim, I laughed because I'm like, this is so far away from anywhere. Like, I was just like, this is obnoxious. But that's what I guess, Hannah, when people were charging them on their own. I just can't imagine someone like they would have had to gone on the highway on the scooter to get to my. I'm like, this is ridiculous. But yeah.
Well, that happens. That happens. When I was in North Carolina, I literally saw one like getting on the highway. So it was just right there. So I guess like how would the person, maybe they would have to pull over on the highway and like walk over and pick it up. I don't know. It's a lot.
I wonder what the furthest. There's got to be some track. I mean, well, they're all tracked with GPS, I'm sure, but
yeah,
like some crazy random places in which they find these scooters. But that said, how long is the typical battery life for a Lime scooter in terms of? Is it by minutes or do they track it by distance?
So in the entire lifespan, I mean, they could last like years.
Well, in terms of, I guess I'm in more like daily use, like how often do they need to be charged?
Oh, they have to be charged pretty much every single day. And it depends on like how much that vehicle is being used. Like, you have to remember that a lot of these vehicles, especially if they are on the ground, they're being used by different people and they only have like 30 miles on them. So once the amount of miles is like depleted and the battery is depleted, somebody will obviously have to come and switch out the battery. So that battery that they're swapping out when it is being charged, it takes a good 5 to 6 hours to charge. So I think that they could last pretty much like all day, but at the end of the day, you're going to have somebody coming out and swapping that battery.
And then what type of infrastructure would you need to put in place to enable the wireless charging capability?
Yeah, so just like there's the biking, what do you call those? Like the biking racks. It would be kind of like that, just a charging station in which you just have to like put your vehicle. It can accommodate an e-bike or e-scooter. You put it right in the rack that has charging capabilities and don't have to touch a single thing. You don't have to plug anything in, and you're automatically charging, and you can go about your business. You can go into that local coffee shop. You may not even want to go back to using the bike, but at least the next person that's going to use it knows that they are at a pretty much full battery.
And then, like, in terms of what's the loss, so to speak, is that's wireless compared to hard plugging your vehicle in, or the scooter in?
I think this is something that has come up in a couple conversations, is that, you know, for those third party independent contractors, people say that they're not going to be needed anymore, but I don't believe that. They might not be as many, but I think like you will see people still leaving the scooters and bikes wherever they want. That's just like how humans are, you know what I mean? So you're still going to need somebody to go and put them back into the charging station. And then also you're going to need somebody who makes sure the charging station are operating properly. So I think that they're still going to be needed, but it may just not be as many people. But the goal is to really increase the amount of uptime that their users are utilizing their vehicles. Because right now, a lot of their vehicles are in downtime, and then they spend a lot of money on warehouses, because they even have warehouses where they store the batteries, where they're charging the batteries. They have charging racks in which every cell holds a battery. I know a ton about this company, which is crazy. But it's really expensive. It's a really expensive operation. And then also like just the way technology is advancing, and there is a lot of advancements within this space, because faster charging time is another thing that users are looking for. And this spans across electric technology. Even with the automobile space, that's something that their users want to see is faster charging time, even with drone technology. So this is something that is commonly heard across the space, and that's something that we do want to be able to provide, is faster charging.
How'd you come up with to do it to scooters and not something else?
So we originally started with automobiles. And the thing is, I've met amazing individuals who are already like deeply immersed within the automobile space. And I have some great mentors and advisors who just kind of help me out and like guide me. And so I had a conversation with one of my mentors, and she was basically saying how like, look, we got to definitely look into another industry, something much smaller, something in which we can really like get our foot through the door and dominate that market, because the automobile space has a ton of investments within improving charging infrastructure, specifically for wireless charging. And there's a company called Electrion that is based out in Michigan, Detroit, and they've already started to like do wireless charging for electric vehicles. So I just started to talk to more and more people about like what we could do, like my advisors, my mentors. And one of my mentors was like, okay, look into e-scooters, try to start small and then scale up. Although that's still your ultimate goal, try to find a good growth strategy to get to that point. So I started looking into e-scooters and the e-bike and e-scooter sharing industry. And I realized, like it's a lot of people are not really looking into the space as much as they are looking into the automobile space. And so we just decided to make a huge pivot and focus on doing that. And especially because I am in the Hampton Roads area and Norfolk has limes down here. And we had them in the city of Hampton at one point, but they unfortunately got rid of them for various reasons. But I also realized that these vehicles are being adopted by universities. And so I have really good connections with Hampton University, and we also spoke to a number of students on campus who would really love to see an alternative transportation on campus. And so that's just kind of like talking to people has really made me solidify like we need to look into this area, because e-bikes and e-scooters, it's a small market, yes, but it is a rapidly growing market with a lot of the same issues in the automobile space, just on a very smaller scale.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, so where are you right now in terms of with the product? Is there an MVP in place? Are you doing beta testing somewhere? Where are you in the process?
Yeah, so I do have engineers who just graduated from North Carolina A&T, and they began to work on our initial prototype. I am in the process of looking for a makerspace down here in Hampton so we can continue to do that and advance it, and also bring on more mechanical engineers on board who can really help us really create a tangible MVP. And I, by the grace of God, I kind of like just found the most perfect people. So that's kind of where we're at right now, raising money. So applying to grants out here. I know the city of Hampton does offer grants for NASA tech commercialization. So that's where we are right now. And then just trying to expand the team with more experienced individuals, because we are all recent grads of a university. So to have that on board would really help us take things even farther.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on that quickly too, just in terms of being younger, being a female in tech. How has that gone? Do you face headwinds and obstacles, or have things improved?
I think, I definitely learned that you have to have really tough skin. A lot has happened, even though I'm so young. But, I think that, and I'm so happy that I have my dad to support me, because he tells me like, it definitely is not easy. And I think being so young has been really challenging, because a lot of people who I'm around, typically, I am always the youngest person in a room. Like it happens pretty much all the time. And I think it's funny, but I don't know, like recently I just came to terms with the fact that like I am young, and I do always look up to those who have come before me and are older than me, because I learn a lot from them, and I'm just so grateful to be in those rooms. And sometimes like it's hard in terms of, sometimes people can throw the fact that I'm young and, may not be as experienced in my face. But I mean, that's something that I'm obviously like, I know and I come to terms with. So I don't really take things very personally. And I try not to let things get to me because I understand like the obstacles that I will face, but I'm pretty much prepared to face them head on. And I'm not going to shy away from anything. And I have a lot of people supporting me, and I just kind of pay attention to those people, and I don't really let the negative, I don't even know if there is negativity out there. I'm not really sure because I don't pay attention to it. But yeah, I'm super focused on what I have to do and like where I'm trying to go. And I think like it's bigger than me. Like I really want to be able, I have a team that I lead of students too. And I think like it's just really important for me to help them get their foot through the door as well. So like I understand that like this is all kind of like way bigger than me, and there's always like a purpose behind everything.
Yeah, I think having that positive attitude can be really good, and so not allowing what others have said in the past to get to you. I think that's a good way to to keep things fresh and positive. And I don't know,
I agree.
Positive is a good thing, like I feel like I'm a pretty positive person. I try to be positive, and it's like, like, all right, well, yeah, I understand these things do happen, but it's like, okay, like let's look at these things in a not negative light.
Yeah, exactly.
No matter how terrible the situation.
Yeah,
exactly. And I always,
because we know stuff's gonna suck at some point. It's like
yeah.
like it's like, okay, so like, but don't forget about the good days too.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly. Yeah. And I just try to look at everything as like a learning lesson. Because like that's just how you grow, and you like get thicker skin by going through hard obstacles and knowing that you've overcome. So I don't know, like that's just kind of how I tend to look at things. So yeah.
It's a great way to look at it.
Yeah. I remember like just literally living this through with other people, and like people would hear no once and be like, yeah, I'm out, throw in the towel. I'm like,
oh no. I think that's when you're just beginning, like
right.
You're just getting.
But you got one no. I'm just like,
exactly.
Yeah, like that one no today. Yeah. how many more? How many more we're gonna have today? Like,
yeah, I mean, you're gonna hear no's, and you're gonna face a lot of rejection, but that's fine. Like, not everybody is going to believe in your vision. And that's something that saddens me a lot. I don't like to see people give up so easily, because there will be somebody who says yes to you. You just got to stick it through and stick it out.
They're probably not even rejecting the vision. They're just rejecting understanding what you're saying at this point, which is a learning experience to then articulate it stronger.
Exactly.
So then someone will actually buy into it. And it's just,
Well, I mean, going back to the visit that we had at Reactor with Mike coming down from New Jersey, going into it, we were fully transparent that they typically write 4 checks a year, and they probably meet with a few hundred founders to narrow it down to those 4 checks. But you got to take the shot on goal to even have an opportunity to hit the bucket. So
exactly.
Zach and I won't even get into what we were doing when we were 23. So it is very admirable.
Tim, you were being a soldier of the United States of America, and I was not.
Well, I'm sure there was some shenanigans that were going on.
I was a soldier of the University of Morgantown. That's
Hannah, when you bring family down to visit you in Hampton, where do you take them for the best meal for them to experience?
The best meal. Ooh, that's really good, because we love to go out to eat. Let me think. So my family really loves Mama Rosa's. They love Poor Girls. They love what is that? What is the restaurant by Fort Monroe? It's like
Dead Rise?
Yes, Dead Rise. Super yummy.
What is that?
It's like a seafood spot. It's a seafood spot, and it's right in Fort Monroe. Really good.
Oh, it's in Fort Monroe.
Yeah.
Right in the marina there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What else? It's funny because ever since my mom moved down here, my parents just kind of started to find their own little spots.
Mm.
um, Trying to think.
You
Those are
ever did you hit El Diablo Loco there at all?
yes, El Diablo. That's another one. I really, really, really like Fuller's. I don't know why. Like they have some really good food over there. Um, yeah, I think that
There's
entire
only 3 other Hampton restaurants left to name. So
yeah, I
might as
know. We can go. We've been to like all of them. We definitely go out to eat maybe a little bit too much. Yeah, so those are just a few spots.
well, the local business owners appreciate your support.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
What El Diablo? What would you call it?
El Diablo Loco.
Yeah.
Mexican?
Mhm.
Mexican tequila cantina type of establishment.
I don't do liquor. We don't get
Well,
along.
you don't have to do tequila, but
That's good.
they have great food.
Stuff. Yeah, really good.
Well, Hannah, it's been a blast. Pleasure meeting you. Look forward to meeting you in person.
Yeah, for sure.
Any last words? Anything you want to talk about that we haven't talked about?
Just thank you guys for this opportunity. It's been so much fun. My first podcast, so you guys might have just started something in my life. Maybe you'll
There
see
you
me
go.
more.
Go crazy.
Yeah. So thank you so much, and I'm just so eager for the next time I can see both of you guys in person.
Well, I look forward to it as well, and I wish you continued success
Thank you.
for many, many years to come. Something tells me you'll find it. So
Thank you.
keep on that trail of optimism and happiness, and I wish you the very best.
Thank you. Appreciate that.